Good evening, everyone. Welcome to August's video blog post of the author's pen. It's August 9th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight's topic is not one that was recommended by anybody to me. It's one that I just chose myself. And it's a personal message that I want to leave you all with. If you've been following my written blog posts, you'll notice that I stated that I will be moving soon, and that's actually going to happen in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, I'll be leaving New England, which has been my home where I raised my children, my family, my entire life. But life goes on, and that's what we call the cycle of life. So I just want to remind everybody that probably my video blog posts won't start again until November or possibly December. The process of moving is really a pain. I'm sure you've all done it and you know what it's like. And where I'm going, I've got to find a house, find a boat, enjoy living in a nice hotel for a couple of months, and let them take care of me for a change and make my bed every single day instead of me having to do it. So it's kind of an exciting thing for me, but it's also bittersweet. So what I wanted to talk to you about is the state of our existence as it stands right now, as a people, as a society. Since we're not going to be talking on this personal level for the next couple of months, I wanted to leave you with a personal message, as I stated earlier. You know, as a country, as a nation, as people, as a society, we have gone through numerous difficult times in our history, numerous wars. I'm not going to debate the fact as to whether some should have been fought, some should have been fought. That's all water over the dam. And if we're going to live in our past, there's no point in taking a step forward. But things were what they were. We faced this pandemic that we're still in, not quite as bad, but a lot of people aren't getting vaccinated, younger people, so they're starting to pay the price of getting the new variant D that's out. And, you know, again, as I've stated in my blogs, it's people's personal choice whether they want to get vaccinated, and I respect whatever choice that they make. Me personally, I did, so I'm enjoying the luxury of not having to wear a mask anymore, which I'm extremely happy about, by the way. But what I want to focus on is what we have been through since the birth of our nation. My generation, my children's generation, my grandchildren's generation, wow, that was a tongue twister, and all the generations before us have all had to suffer many trials and tribulations. But the one thing that every generation before us has had in common is they've all survived it. We have survived it. We have suffered. We've gone through a lot, financially, socially, emotionally, on the political front, on the social front. We've been basically through a living hell for the past year and a half. And guess what? We're still here today. And guess what? We're still going to be here tomorrow. You know, many years ago, a dear friend of mine who is now passed said to me, and many people have said this, and it's a very true statement, it's not so much what you go through, it's how you handle what you go through. And that's the important thing here. We have all been through financial difficulties. We've all been through divorces. Maybe not all of us, but some of us, I know I have. And we've been through a lot of things that have tested our tenacity, has tested our ability to survive as people and survive as a society. And you know what? We've passed that test with flying colors every time. But again, not without some pain and suffering along the way. And we will get through this, regardless of what your political beliefs are, who you like, who you don't like. You know what? These things change every 4 years. And There's always going to be social groups that are going to come up. There's always going to be activists that are going to come up. Everybody has their beliefs, and we need to respect those. We hope that people with these beliefs profess their beliefs in a peaceful, nonviolent manner, but unfortunately we didn't experience a lot of that in the last year and a half. But we survived it. That's the key message here. Everything our nation has gone through since its birth, we have survived, and I would say for the most part, have come out of it stronger than what we were. And no matter what you're going through now, no matter what our society is going through now, and our society is taking many different paths that, quite frankly, I never ever thought I would see our society take. Social media, we all use social media. I don't agree with all the things that they do. I don't agree with all the things that they allow. And I don't agree with all the things that they cancel, okay, as we call it, the cancel culture. But we all have our beliefs about that. I think things like social media should be open platforms. People should be able to state their minds properly, respectfully, not with pornography and everything else. That's not the place for that when there's young minds out there that have access to social media that don't need to see that. There's places that people would go if that happens to be their thing. Our political system is taking some massive turns. I don't think we've ever seen our two major parties, Democratic and Republican parties, ever be so opposed, at least not in my lifetime. But you know what? We'll get through it. We'll get through all of that. Somewhere along the line, a happy medium will occur. Because a few things happen during this process. And the most important thing is people, you, I, and everyone else in our society, we just begin to get fed up. We get fed up with the mainstream media that is biased towards the left or biased towards the right. We get fed up with not being told the proper information. We get fed up with all the celebrities and athletes that make political statements or statements on social media and retract them the following day when they see they're losing followers or their fan base is upset or ticket sales for the games decrease dramatically. So we the people, we are the people that eventually will institute this change, and will institute this change by the most powerful means we have at our disposal, and that is the ability to vote, the ability to pick our leaders. If we don't like our leaders, we just change them next time around. The whole fiasco in the last election, we all have opinions about that, and I always try to keep my opinions out of things, and I try and be factually based and scientific based with data and so on and so forth. But this particular post this month is a little bit different. It is about my opinions. And you know what? Sometimes in a personal message, you need to state your opinions. I think the political parties handled themselves it was a travesty, absolute travesty. Our political system has gotten to the point where we bash people's families. We go after their children. We go after things they did when they were in high school. Growing up, it was never like that for me. Politicians got on stage, they did their debates, and they stuck to the issues. Nobody sticks to the issues anymore. And the promises that are made are very rarely kept. We have people revolting against governors in their own states, wanting to recall them, re-elect. That's unheard of, okay? It's just simply unheard of. And that's because there's no line drawn in the sand, or I should say there is a line drawn in the sand, and people are on each side of that line continuously butting heads. Eventually that's going to stop. Trust me, when I tell you that. Eventually it'll stop because we will just get fed up with it, and we will put leaders in these positions that are not going to do that and are going to do what is best for us, the citizens of this great nation that we live in. These are all the things we've been dealing with. You know, my heart goes out to the people on our southern borders. You know, we look at the videos on the news. It's a travesty what's happening there. Whether you agree that there should have been a wall, whether you disagree that there should have been a wall, the fact of the matter is crime has been on the uprise to 400% in some areas. Shootings, oh my God, they're out of control. Chicago, New York, and some other areas of the country. It makes it for a very depressing situation sometimes when you get up every day. The pandemic has caused such emotional turmoil for people. People in our incidents of people being depressed are higher. Suicides are higher. Children, our youth, suffering from emotional behavioral issues is higher. And it sounds very bleak, and actually to some degree it is. But the reality is it will be fixed. It will turn around because nothing can spiral downhill forever. But when people have had enough, then that's when change happens. The key is, and what our society is seemed to have gotten away from, is change needs to be progress. It needs to be positive. It needs to be peaceful, and there's a process to go about that. So I ask anybody who is watching my video blog post this month, please voice your opinion. State what's on your mind. That's very important. Do it the right way. I'm literally appalled at what's going on in some of the school systems with the books with the profanity and sexual innuendos that some school systems are requiring our youth to read. I feel more for my grandchildren. There's so many kids now that are being homeschooled because parents don't even want to send them to public schools anymore. And a lot of parents can't afford to send their kids to private schools. And the fact that parents don't have a say, or these boards of educations don't even want to hear, and they ignore the parents when they speak up about this, is a travesty. Those people should be voted out, and they should be replaced. Because I, as a parent, have every right to know what my children are going to be taught in school. Changing our history, or how we teach what our nation evolved to, and adding certain things at their discretion and removing certain things at their discretion is absolutely ridiculous. Our country and no country has a stellar history. I said that in my written blog post a couple of weeks ago. Every country has made mistakes. Our nation has made mistakes. You know, when I was a teenager, which was a couple of years ago, racism wasn't as bad as it is today. Everything is about race, color. Everybody looks to blame racism for everything. Why don't we start holding people accountable for what they do, regardless of their color? Brown, white, green, black. I don't care if they come from Mars. People make a choice to do what they do, regardless of their color, and they should be held accountable for it. Our justice system is gotten out of control with dropping bail and not holding people in jail and so on and so forth. And these are just my personal opinions. We are not making people accountable for what they do. And that's one of the major problems that need to be fixed. So in my personal message to you tonight, like I said, it might be 2 or 3 months before I get my video and my audio studio set up again in my new location, because that does take time, because it needs to be done right with soundproofing, lighting, and so on and so forth. My take-home message to you is be patient. Have patience. Speak your mind. Do it properly. And know that if we do things together as a society, we could certainly affect positive change and get it going in the right direction and become the great nation that we once were. Because we are a great nation in many respects, but we're lacking in areas that we never lacked in before. And that needs to hopefully change. There's a lot of change that has to happen, but it's not going to happen overnight. But just be patient because it will change. Everybody who has subscribed to my blogs, I really want to thank you. This isn't a farewell speech. I know that statement makes it sound that way. We're getting really close to hitting 10,000 subscribers, and that was my goal for 2021, but we still got a way to go. So I would appreciate it if people do subscribe to my blog. Your emails, information is never shared, never sold. I don't allow that. That's private information. That's your private information, and I respect that. So you never have to worry about that. I don't bombard people with emails. They get one email when a blog post is posted, and that's it. Period. End of story. But I do appreciate your support. My written blog posts will continue on a weekly basis, so those will not stop. But my video ones, like I said, after this post, I will probably end up starting to take the studio I have in my home now apart. And again, by the time I move, get settled, and set it back up, it could be 2 or 3 months. So I really appreciate your patience on that. But I want to thank you all for your support. And I want to remind you again, please, think positive, do positive things, and positive change will occur. Thank you. God bless. Stay safe and be well.